Hey, y'all, you got Doug Gore here with Cajun Soft Wash and the Spray Wash Academy. I want to talk to you a little bit today about taping up electrical receptacles, right? We'll go over a couple of different things, but understand that I'm inside here, but I want to keep out of the elements and all. We use basically two different sizes of tape, okay? One makes it easier if you're trying to cover the entire receptacle. The other is if you want to bag it, and there are several different things. So I'm going to show you those. If it is a peeling paint type situation or something where the surface is can be damaged, we'll use the blue painter's tape. If it's stucco, sometimes the red stucco tape. And I'm going to get into a little bit of that about all of that with you. So let's just dive right in here, okay? One of the things that I like to do, I like to go ahead and imagine that this is an outside receptacle, and I like to start off by um, doing what's called I kind of call it like a fail safe. So what I'll do is I'll start off and I'll tape the sides of the receptacle like this, okay? I'm not trying to get a whole bunch of overlap. I'm trying to get most of my tape on the surface here and then just a little bit of overlap onto the cover of the receptacle like this. Now, you want to do the sides first and then you want to do the top last. One of the points of this is that you never want to tape off the bottom. The reason we don't tape off the bottom is very simply that if somehow water does seem to get past the fail safes that you put in and the plastic that you put up, you don't want water to get inside and then get trapped and fill up inside the receptacle. So I encourage you not to tape the bottom. So again, I'm going to tape the two sides like this, and then I'll go ahead and I'll put my last piece of tape across the top. The point of that again is that you have to think like water a little bit. And water is going to be, whatever you put up must come down. So as it runs down, if I put this tape over the top of, there's more of a chance of that water getting back behind. So, and again, I'm going to show you a couple different styles here. I like to go ahead and like I said, I tape off this as like a fail safe, okay? When you're dealing with a surface such as this is a nice painted surface. The tape's going to stick really, really well. And it's not typically a problem. If it's like vinyl, I may not get too carried away because with vinyl, I can get a nice adhesion, if you would, and not have a problem. If you're dealing with stucco or brick or things of that nature, there are other things you have to take into consideration. I'll try to touch on that some. So once I get my, what I call my fail safe in, so if my water does get past what I'm going to put over here next, this is just another layer of protection, okay? What some people do, they take, if the receptacle is nice and sealed on the outside, you can simply just take, especially the wider tape, and you can just take a single piece of tape and do something like this and cover them, okay? That's only if your sides are sealed up real nice and that you're not worried about intrusion there. Obviously, this is an interior again, so most of the time you're dealing with an outward box, and you can sometimes just do that, or if they have a cover plate, you can just put it over the cover. So now that we've got this set, a lot of times, and we've kind of moved away from these, though I really like these. These are arm protectors for tattoos, okay? We used to get them in boxes of like 6,000. It was like 60 bucks. And I think they've gone up, and I haven't checked in a little while. Now we're using the doggy poop bags. Matter of fact, I'm waiting on more to come in. The doggy poop bags, I think I ordered 4,000 rolls, and the rolls have several in them, so they'll be with us for a little while. Anyhow, the reason I like these is because they have the elastic to them. I could run my electrical cord through here, grab it, and then we could put this right over the top of the receptacle, right? I like that a lot. So that's one idea. The other are the dog poop bags. The dog poop bags are something like this. They're a little bit bigger, but they're meant for, you know, the person to scoop up the dog poop and pull it through. But they're a little bit bigger than this, and they're about the perfect size. Like this one here is obviously long. But so what we'll do is we'll put our fail safe in here, right? And then we'll start the tape up process for this. What I like to do, again, if it's something like vinyl or metal or something to that nature, it's really easy to take care of because your tape sticks really well. Okay. Again, you want to start off, you want to tape your sides first. So I'm typically going to take my cover as I mess it all up. See how I am. So I'm going to take my cover. Okay. I'm going to do the sides first because we want to make that top piece last. And you notice I'm not going way up and over. I'm trying to keep it pretty even with the top of my plastic. Okay. Again, because I want to prevent any water intrusion that I can. So now I'm going to take my other piece. I'm going to go on the other side. Okay. And then I'm going to come over the top. What I like to do, especially for the top, because it's about getting as much adhesion to the wall as you can, I like to use the larger tape for that. So I'm going to do that for the demonstration as well. All right, so again, if you can see that plastic, the plastic is right here, okay? I don't want to come down and barely cover mostly plastic. I want to barely cover the plastic, okay? That way I get a lot of adhesion to the wall and less likelihood of water coming through. Especially things like stucco and brick and things where it doesn't want to stick very well. I take my fingernails and I rub my fingernails on it like this. Okay, that helps embed it in. But this isn't finished yet. This right here is really good and will help prevent water intrusion from coming in. But what I like to do is I next take and what we do, we call them putting a bridge over the top. I actually require my guys on anything like stucco and brick where it doesn't really adhere very well. I require 3 bridges. It used to be that we would put them on straight. Now we put them on at a little bit of an angle. So let me show that to you as well. So we'll take another piece of tape, and then we will take and we'll put it at a slight angle like this, and we'll tape above it. Okay. What I don't want to do is I don't want to adhere the bottom. Okay. I'm trying to get this up. So what we'll do is we'll sit there and we'll work it into the brick or work it into the stucco a little bit. Now what I've done is I've created a channel, right? The problem is the water comes down, it's just going to close it, right? So what we do, we then take another piece of tape, and depending on how long it is or what the span is here, we might use 2, usually just 1, but sometimes 2, maybe 3 pieces of tape. We're going to take it, we're going to make a little ball like this. It's called a farley. We're going to take our farley and we're going to stick it on here just like this, okay? Again, this one's pretty long, so I'm probably going to stick 3 farleys on there, right? Just like this. And I got 3 farleys on here. The purpose of the farley is that when the water comes down, it helps to prevent this from collapsing and sticking and allowing for water intrusion. So what I want to do now, the water can come down and it's going to roll down and it's going to be off to the side instead of putting the receptacle at risk, okay? So again, especially if this is brick or stucco, my requirement for my guys is 3 farley or 3 bridges over the top. All of them have farleys on them in order to prevent that from setting down. This is a really, really good way of protecting these receptacles. So one of the arguments that we get is that takes too much time, and I'm not going to waste that much time. Great. It's what we do with our company. It is something that I sell in our process and in the sales process. And again, if you're dealing with the stucco or the brick, it's really the right way to go. Now let me show you a couple other ways of doing it. So now again, this is pretty well foolproof. Even if the brick or the stucco is a little bit wet, you're not getting real good adhesion with your tape, right? You can still kind of get it on there, It's not on there real well, but you put the 3 over the top, and it helps to channel that water off. And then this, even though all the tape isn't stuck very well, it would rarely ever have a problem, even if the surface is already a little wet from the morning dew or something like that. All right, so let's get into another way of taping it on. And remember, don't tape the bottom. Allow the water to escape. Okay, so let's get into another way of doing this. Trouble getting the tape off because I'm, not as ambidextrous as I used to be when I was younger. All right, so another way to do this is to take the wider tape, such as this, and to just tape off the receptacle. A lot of people find this a very quick way of doing this. Again, you always want to start at the bottom, and you don't want to tape up the bottom. Again, you don't want to trap the water in. I know I keep saying that, but so you take your tape, your wide tape like this, you start at the bottom, and you simply cover the receptacle like this. Okay? And you do that, building your way up. So now I'm going to take my second piece of tape, and I'm going to cover that first piece. I'll take my next piece of tape, covering that piece, and I'll take my next piece. Again, this is quicker, typically, than the other way, and it can be just as effective. Okay, it does depend a little bit. So, these rolls of tape can get to be expensive, but so is labor installing everything. So that's where you just have to weigh out the pros and cons of how you want to do it. But I encourage you, again, you've got this. Now come over the top and put your angled piece and put your Farley's underneath, right? Again, that way it sheds that water off. The problem is if water gets back behind here at all, again, you want to make sure if it gets past this first piece of tape that you're trying to do your best to keep it from getting up underneath each piece. That's why if you put this piece on first and then put this piece over the top, it does allow for it to just trap the water, especially if you're going top to bottom. So don't always go bottom to top is the point there. Now, as another thing, just as a quick point, hopefully we'll get this across here, being as how we're doing it on an electrical receptacle. Imagine that this is a light fixture, okay? You can still get the water back behind those light fixtures. So a lot of times what we'll do, again, we never tape the bottom, but we'll tape the sides and then the top of the light fixture itself, okay, where it adheres to the wall. Because a lot of times those light fixtures, as they attach to the wall, the light is out here and it pulls it back. So it has a strong bond against the bottom and it's loose against the top. So as the liquid comes down, it actually gets trapped inside there. Tape up the sides, then the top, and you should be good to go. That's a little tip from Doug Gore here at the Spray Wash Academy. Appreciate y'all, and don't forget to subscribe to Spray Wash. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.